Alright, we back on games, and I'm telling y'all now, I have a lot to talk about. Today is going to be a lot of hypocrisy that's got to be knocked down, especially within the FGC. So I'm telling you now, I'm putting you on notice right now about the FGC. Alright, we'll get to that later. Before I get started, I want to say this now. Why is it every time, y'all know how this goes, every time I take a vacation, some shit happens, right? Something stupid happens, and I gotta come back and talk about it, right? That's usually how it is. So today, we're going to start off, not with Gamergate, not with the FGC, not with Capcom, not with Ubisoft or anything. No. We're going to start off with Congress. That's right. Now, for those who don't know what's going on, because this is going to affect you gamers as well, okay? Congress has passed, I want to make sure I get this right, has passed Bill H.R. 4681 by giving police unlimited access to citizens' private communications. This is nothing, if you read the bill, and I will put it in the info bar, alright, this article, it is nothing but SOPA, but it's just giving some bells and whistles. That's all it is. This is what, the third time now they're trying to reactivate this, and they tried to slip it under the rug, push it as fast as possible through so it gets to the president so that he can sign it. That's right. And now, also in the article, there were some people, some congressmen, who actually tried to fight against it, but it was too late before it was passed. This goes to show you what your government is trying to do. Now, gamers, I know you're saying right now, well, how does this affect us? There's another article I will put in the info bar on how this targets gamers. Because it says Congress to pass bill to have unlimited spying on gamers. That's right. So for every game you play, they're going to be spying. We saw this, and I want to talk about this a little bit more because the article talks about how, remember how the Kinect was bundled and the Kinect would always be watching what you're doing and how seeing you? They actually mentioned this in the article. So for anyone who still thought that the Kinect, going online was a myth, yeah, now you know. They said, we've been talking about this for years. It is pathetic that this is what they're doing. Like I said, you can't keep reviving this from the dead. SOPA, PIPA, whatever the hell you want to call it. Doesn't matter what you slap a nice little, paint job on it and think that people are going to be okay with it. It's ridiculous. Alright? However, gamers, understand this will affect you if this goes through. Like I said, they're going to be watching you all the time. Every game that you play, they will be monitoring what you're saying, what you're playing. Ridiculous. This is why I said all this for a video game. They need to know exactly what you're doing. Like I said, and I also think that this is not just, because they want to monitor all citizens, especially with gamers, because, the stigma is, when something happens violently, it must be gamers. Must be. If a mass shooting happens, must be gamers. It's always been, linking video games to mass shootings, which they have no evidence of doing. We've seen this before. We've seen it time and time again, and yet they're still doing this. Like I said, you have to understand, all those things, it creeps up in the back of their head, and they remember that. So just don't think, because we have facts and we can combat them, it doesn't matter. The stigma is there. The stereotype is there that gamers, for some reason, go on these rampages and kill, hundreds of people, in one shot. So now we have to have all these, these things to monitor us gamers when we play our games. Can you imagine how Call of Duty is going to be? We'll talk about Call of Duty later. I got a lot to talk about with Call of Duty, okay? But let's keep going, all right? This is another thing you gamers, not just you gamers, but your households need to know about, all right? For people who use Comcast. Comcast sued for turning home Wi-Fi routers into public hotspots. That's right. They're being sued because consumers feel as though you're letting strangers into something they're paying for, mind you. They're paying for their routers, the Comcast routers, and you're letting strangers use the stuff. They're also seeing a 30 to 40% increase in their electricity bill because of these type of things. Also, they're seeing a lot of slowdowns in their speed because so many people are using the routers. Comcast, for some reason, is trying to say this is a good idea. You should, if anything, you benefit from this. Consumers, but you don't. Could you imagine if somebody just wanted to hack into no, we're not even gonna get on that. Customers' information is at risk even more when you do something like this. Comcast does not care. Yet, they're being sued, and they deserve to be sued. Hopefully, this stalls this whole, home Wi-Fi turning into public hotspot thing. Because they're trying to compete with the cellular companies. That's what they're trying to do. So, I'm telling you now, kids, if you really can't have a voice like that, tell your parents. The link will be in the info bar so they can see what's going on. This is what Comcast is planning on doing if you're a Comcast customer. Okay? Now, I want to get into video games. That's right. Now let's get started, okay? Because when you see articles like this talk about video games, you know these type of writers or bloggers or whatever the hell you want to call them these days, they don't deserve to be in our community, let alone the industry. Obviously, some of these clowns don't get it. Either it's stupidity on their end, or it's just clickbait garbage. How is gameplay getting in the way of a game? Hence the word game. It's a game. If you want to watch something, watch a movie, then go watch a movie. Or in your case, you want to watch a fake movie or parts of a movie because you know they got to hit you with DLC. So if you want to see DLC movies, I suggest what you do is go to the movie theater, all right? Get halfway through the movie, leave, come back a week later, okay, or a month later, if it's still in the theater, go back to the theater, watch the rest of it if you want to do that. Don't tell me that gameplay is getting in the way of video games. That's what it's about. Understand that you're going to have some type of narrative to set it up so that you have a purpose to do things, but gameplay is where it's at. To say that it's getting in the way, you should be ashamed of yourself. Even to put a question mark, like I said, even the header for it, even if it's clickbait garbage, you should be ashamed of yourself. Now let's move on, okay? I want to talk about this. GTA has been removed from 300 stores in Australia because of the women's, they're in trouble. Once again, the violence against women, the sexuality. Last I checked, the gameplay was about, having mass carnage, violence. It's your own world. It's an open world that you choose to do these things, and also understand it is M-rated. So for anyone who says, please think of the children, parents, stop buying it for them. How about that? That's too much like right, though, right? That's just too much like right. I'll put it like this. For these people, and of course this were, the social justice warriors that got this banned. Remember they said, we don't want to censor your stuff. We just want to be included. And then what did you do? You went and got it thrown out from, Target and Kmart and all these other places. I thought that you wanted equality. Because you're saying it's violence against women. Yeah, there's violence against men in it as well. So, what's the problem? It's equality. That's what you want, right? Or is it, they're showing scenes with strippers and having sex. That happens in the real world. You know that, right? Or do you people even leave your houses when you say these type of things? You do understand that GTA is a game that is based off of things that happen in real life, right? In bad areas, right? Red light districts and things of that nature, right? Do you even think about these things before opening your mouth? You gonna tell me that there's never been a strip club in real life? There's never been a stripper in real life. You gonna say that? You gonna tell me there's never been a sex worker in real life, right? Is that what you gonna say? Some of these people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And once again, this hypocrisy creeps up even more. That's right. Those don't know what I'm talking about. Hatred. Let's talk about hatred. All right? Hatred was put on Steam. Everyone cried and bitched and moaned about hatred. And what did they do? They removed hatred from Steam. However, this game is still on Steam. So much for that social justice, right? Oh, I forgot. Us minorities don't matter. So that's okay to keep on there. It's really pathetic to see these type of things happen. So you get mad over hatred, which has been done to death already with Manhunt. We've seen things like this, time and time again. Top-down shooters, we talked about this before. Reloaded, loaded, Postal. We've seen these things. It does nothing original. And yet you want to pull it off of there. That's ridiculous. But you don't want to censor anything, right? You just want to be included. You still want to keep talking that? Like I said, the hypocrisy is so strong. And you know what? Brianna, we got to talk about this. Street Fighter V, let's talk about this right now. This is what she had to say about the FGC. Because apparently, Street Fighter V is nothing but a bunch of men doing karate while women are cosplayers. And then the response to this is absolutely insane. Now, I'm not even going to talk about the fact how late to the game they are about these type of things because I've already done a video on this and shot this down because as we know, Street Fighter is nothing but a bunch of stereotypes as it is. So men do karate, they do karate. Have you looked at the size of those guys? All the bulging muscles and everything? But that's just a stereotype, right? We shouldn't be screaming sexism, right? Because it's unfair to us males in our anatomy, right? We shouldn't talk about that, though. but women cosplaying. So, of course, the women cosplaying, they don't fight at all, right? The women aren't a threat. Obviously, these people don't play these fucking video games. Like I said, Brianna Wu, when's the last time you've been to a fighting game tournament? When's the last time? You want to speak about these things? And then the response to that, oh, these women, there are women players, but they're too busy being harassed. Really? Because this is oppression, right? This is harassment. Yes, because those women playing, they look so harassed. They are so oppressed. Oh, the misogyny. Shut the fuck up. Seriously. Until you go to these tournaments, you have no stake in anything to say. Alright, as far as I'm concerned. Don't sit on the sidelines and keep talking and running your mouth. You were talking to a person who has been in this community for years. Since the 90s. I would say even late 80s. But I'll say since the 90s. Alright? So don't sit here and tell me that, oh, it's just all women get harassed. You know, it's all about women being cosplayers. What? What? Are you serious? So let me get this straight. C Viper. Is she cosplaying? She wears a suit. Is she cosplaying? I want to know. Don't tell me this garbage. But yet that's, you know, you're just going to, you know, abandon that part. Should we talk about, like I said, this is just Street Fighter. We're not even talking about other fighting games. Don't even give, that's just one example. Get out of my face with this. Seriously. However, FGC, that is the only way I am going to back you today. Alright? Only way. Because the things that I have seen, and I've talked about this for years, and you know this. I've talked about this for years. I actually have a lot of playlists for these type of things. We're going to talk about this. There was an article that came out not too long ago, okay? From the FGC over at SRK. And this person said that, you know, over at, you know, the tournament that was here in Philadelphia, in my backyard, that's right, my backyard, we will talk about that in a minute, okay? About that part. But, understand that this person goes on to talk about the behavior of the FGC, alright? How he was at the tournament, and, you know, him and his friends, he saw people that, you know, he liked, they got together, you know, that he talked to online. It was a great experience to meet those people. He said, and then it wasn't such a great experience when people started acting a fool. People started being degraded. They started being bullied. They started being harassed over video games, okay? Now, I have talked about this before, have I not? I've done these type of videos. Like I said, I have a playlist of all this stuff. I've done this for years. And every time I brought it up, you always had some whining bitch-ass apologist come out. You're wrong, Event. There's nothing wrong with our community. We don't need to clean it up. Bullshit. And I find it really funny now that these type of things are being said. You know, now these articles are starting to pop up a lot. Now, I put it like this. This person goes on to say that he talked to a number of, you know, high-profile, players in the community about this, about the behavior of the community. And you know what they said? Not my problem. Not my problem. They brushed him off. He says it in the article. Not my problem. What did I tell you before about this? I told you that those players that you look up to, they don't give a damn about you. They don't give a damn about this community. They only care about themselves. I told you that. And yet, for some reason, this guy thinks that it was going to change. Like I said, this article is actually years late, all right, compared to what I've been doing. They're trying to catch up to what I'm doing at this point, as far as I'm concerned. That's how I see it, all right? But then he goes to tournament organizers, and they're like, well, nothing's going to really happen until somebody gets hurt. Nothing's going to change until someone gets punched. Well, you know what? Maybe it's time it happens. Because that's all we see. We see a bunch of people get hyped, beat their chest, talk all types of shit, be disrespectful to people, and yet nothing happens. Because they think in this little internet world, because that's what they fucking live in, it's not the real world. Like I said, if you were around in the 90s and you acted like that, you was getting knocked the fuck out. You was getting the bums rushed by a number of people. You would get kicked out of places like this. For some reason, the FGC has become very fucking soft. And I don't understand why. And when I do these type of videos, you get mad at me. You call me the bad guy. You get another guy who wants to curse me the fuck out and then says, I want to meet you face to face, and then expects me to be civil to him. No. You want to curse me the fuck out and call me a bunch of names, then you want to see me face to face and I say, I'm going to knock you the fuck out when I see you. What you say? I don't want to fight. I'm busy doing a tournament right now. Fuck your tournament. That's how I feel. You're not going to sit here and act a fucking fool and then call me the fuck out. Alright, when it comes to, you know, face-to-face, and then say, I just wanted to talk, we don't have to do this. Well, maybe you should have came correct in the first place. What fucking idiot thinks that it's okay to all of a sudden talk shit to people, and then say, we'll be okay, we'll be all cool when we see each other? Who the fuck does that? That's not how the real world works. And then when you see a picture of this fucking clown, what is he doing? Burying his fucking face in some guy's chest. The fuck is wrong with you? Way to play yourself. See, this is what I'm talking about. Time and time again, we have this problem. I've been talking about this for fucking years. And then you're going to do a report, an article in my backyard. And this is the lack of fucking respect I'm talking about. You don't have to talk to me, okay? But when you're in someone's backyard, you let somebody know. Because when I read this article, I was making phone calls. Yo, did someone talk to you about this? Did you know that this was going to happen? Nah, man, didn't nobody talk to me. Okay, let me call someone else. Yo, did you know that they was going to start acting a fool with this tournament, whatever? Nah, no one said nothing to me. Go on Facebook and see what's going on. Read some stuff from other people that I know, all right, on another account. Go on Twitter and see some from people I know. You know, check out their stuff. You know, I don't really follow them, but I still know who they are. I checked out their stuff. And I'm like, no one was told anything. So you're going to come in our backyard, and you're going to act a fucking fool, and expect that's okay. Now, you got a lot of guys who say, well, when people act a fool and all, this is entertainment. It's like wrestling. Look, I'll put it like this. If you want to make it like wrestling, then let it be fucking known. We've seen time and time again. We've seen the guys. Remember the video I showed where the guys were in the car and they were like, oh, you're setting this up. You guys, they really didn't have a problem with each other, but they were going to play it out as if they really did have a problem. Because they were acting. That's what it is. And they were trying to keep that drama going. And you should know, FGC, that at the end of all this, we are here to see the competition. We are here to see the fights. If you need drama on top of that, that goes to show you that they can't hold it together themselves by their skills alone. They need to do more. I have no problem with people trying to hype up a fight. That's promotion, just like any other fight. It's promotion. I don't have a problem with that. But when you have people who are absolute frauds, and they have to keep this going because they need to keep that attention on themselves, there's a fucking problem. But yet when I say this, I'm the bad guy. Like I said, everything you're getting right now is the fucking truth. Like I said, this person wrote this article, and the comments there's no comments because they disabled the comments. A lot of what I've heard, people were saying that, there's a lot of nasty comments beforehand, and they got rid of the comments. So if that's the case, way to show your maturity, FGC. Way to show it. Like I said, I've been talking about this for years. Yet, for some reason, people, you can still bitch at me about fucking Street Fighter, but you can't get together to say, hey, look, we need to do something about the behavior here. Because if you're going to play games, mind you, these are video games. Let's keep it in perspective. You play a fucking video game, all right? There's no reason for people to be fighting and fighting and acting a fool and getting this ego about themselves. They're video games. There's no great feat being, accomplished here. Let's be honest. I understand people, you practice, and you want to be the best, and that is part of fighting games. It's competition. I respect that. But when you sit here and say the FGC wants to be bigger, it wants to be like MLG, you need to have some standards, you need to have some guidelines on behavior. And it's not just the players either, because this goes to the tournament organizers, this goes to the sponsors. When you let this type of thing run amok, you know what happens? It makes you look bad. For everyone to say they want the community to be cleaned up and gamers deserve more respect and they want to be part of the public eye even more, you can't act like this. You think in football or in basketball or baseball or whatever, when these people act like this, they don't get penalized, they don't get fined, they don't get suspended? If you really want to be on that level, then you need to start showing that maturity. But it seems like that you don't want that. For some reason, you want to have your cake and eat it too, when you should know by now that the cake is a lie. And it makes no fucking sense on why you think this should be okay. And the fact that this person went out of his way and he says, I decided to talk about this. I'm happy to see that more people are talking about this, because it is a problem. But don't think that I haven't dealt with this in so long. And this favoritism shit has to go too. Alright? Because, like I said, you can talk to me about Street Fighter. When I did that video about Ultra Street Fighter 4, and we were making fun of it and saying, this shit is garbage or whatever, people got mad. You suck. You don't know what Haladoukens are. You don't know what footsies are. And we're like, we understand the science behind it. We just think it's bullshit. Because back in the day, that was bullshit. I understand it is a new generation, so it's a different style of play, but we still think it's bullshit. These characters that these developers make, alright, that have an array of moves, there are way more ways to get around things these days other than, I'm just going to spam this shit and set up a trap. We know how to, you can set traps in anything these days, in any fighting game. Hell, Smash, you can set traps in Zone. But, it doesn't matter, right? And yet you're going to get on me about Ultra Street Fighter 4. Daigo comes out and says, I don't like Ultra Street Fighter 4 for these number of reasons, and you're like, praise Daigo. It doesn't matter who fucking says it. The truth is the truth. But yet you don't care about that shit. It depends who says it. This goes to tell me that you don't understand when there's an adult in your presence. And that's a problem. Like I said, lack of respect. So you're going to tell me now it's going to have to take someone getting punched in the face before something happens. An actual physical altercation before something happens. Is that what it's come to now? Like I said, back in the day it happened. So you're telling me now that the camera's on, this is what we need? You know what? Like I said, sometimes it has to be done. And then a message needs to be said. Someone needs to do it. And it's sad that and when it happens, and it will happen eventually, when it happens, don't bitch and moan about it. Because this is what it took to get it to change. That's how I see it. It's sad. All over video games. But that's not all, FGC. Nah, let's keep going, alright? Let's talk about Tekken 7. Oh man, Tekken 7. Lucky Chloe, yeah. Apparently, there's a number of people who are so upset with the character of Lucky Chloe, and I don't understand why. And I'll explain this in full detail. Now, for those who don't know, Lucky Chloe is a teenager who's dressed like a cat. I'll show the picture of Lucky Chloe, okay? But she's a breakdancing teenager who is in all these type of trends and fads, you know, and people are saying that they don't like the character. That they're feeling uncomfortable about... You know what? No. Let's just show the picture first of Lucky Chloe before I even get to that part. So that character makes people feel uncomfortable. They don't want to play as her. They don't want to play against her. They feel very uncomfortable. Oh my God, it's so bad, Lucky Chloe. How could they do this to us? This is such a disrespect to women and the fighting game community and blah, blah, blah. No. How could you sit here and say that picture makes you uncomfortable when for years you had no problem fighting with or against this character? The hypocrisy is getting stronger by the second. Matter of fact, where were you in the PS1 era when Dead or Alive had their jiggle physics? But no complaints then. Matter of fact, to this day, Dead or Alive 5 has jiggle physics as well. Yeah, I don't want to fucking hear it. I find it really funny that it's okay for people to get so sensitive over Lucky Chloe, alright, but you have no problems with gamers, you know, being berated and harassed and, you know, and pretty much, you know, trashed on during these tournaments, and that you're going to act a fool. For some reason, I don't know why nobody wants the behavior to be cleaned up. Are you justifying your immaturity? Is that what you want to do? But Lucky Chloe, oh my God, we can act like a bunch of assholes to others, but Lucky Chloe, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. Like I said, the hypocrisy is just, it's ridiculous. And you know what? Let's keep going. Street Fighter 5. Alright? Capcom. I do not understand what you were doing with Street Fighter 5. And I say this because the last video I did, when they would say Capcom's going to have a big reveal, I said, better not be Street Fighter 5. And lo and behold, Street Fighter 5. Which just looks like Street Fighter, Ultra Street Fighter 4 with a little bit more graphics. That's all it looks like. It's stupid. And for anyone who says, but the revenge meter, don't get me started. Don't get me fucking started on the revenge meter. That's not what bothers me right now about Street Fighter 5. What bothers me is the fact that Capcom leaked the stuff for Street Fighter 5. And then when people decided to talk about it, you started taking down videos. So let me get this straight, Capcom. Your PR is absolutely fucking trash if you're going to say, well, we're going to generate hype by Street Fighter 5, but we don't want nobody to talk about that hype. That makes no sense. Matter of fact, Max himself, and you know, I'm sure you know, Mr. Assist Me, Max himself talked about it, alright, and showed no video, no screenshots, just talked about it. And his videos were taken down, that's right, and he received 2 strikes. That's right, 2 strikes on his channel. Now here's my problem with this. There's a fine line between being a fanboy and a fucking idiot. And I'll explain, okay? Because apparently Capcom after everything was said, Capcom lifted the strikes off of Max's channel. So he can keep his channel, okay? He's not in the warning anymore. However, when he was asked, hey, are you still going to support Capcom after all this? He was like, yeah, I'm still going to support Capcom. How fucking stupid can you be? Do you just want to suck them off that badly that you're going to let them abuse you, your channel? Your channel. You're going to abuse your channel and you're still going to support them? Do you understand? Other players, alright, other YouTubers lower than you because of your connections, Max. You have to understand. Other people lower than you also were taking their videos, were taking down their strikes, and guess what? Those were upheld. Upheld. So because of who you are, that's what happened. But understand, if you step on their toes again, they will strike you down. You understand that you have no fucking integrity. If this is about the FGC, the community, you would have said, you know what? You took the strikes away, but I learned my lesson. This is how you want to treat people. I'm walking away from you. But you didn't. You didn't. It tells me just how much of a kiss ass you are. It tells me you have no fucking backbone. And the thing is, I don't have a problem with this. I actually like his videos when he does those type of things. But this is a problem. And because he can't stand on his own too, because he has no fucking guts, it tells me I need to walk away from that guy. Now, we all know, alright, that, like I said, we've been told now that he has some connections. But Capcom does this time and time again. Taking advantage of players or fan bases and saying, look, we're still going to abuse you and you're still going to buy our shit. I will talk about that later, alright? Very soon. Now, I will put it like this. I also want to go back a little bit and talk about Dead or Alive 5. I just want to give this news. I should have added on before. But, PC players, Dead or Alive 5 last round, you will have no online play for it yet. It will not come at launch. It will come later. Just letting you know, the link will be in the info bar. Also, like I said, I do want to get back to Capcom in a minute, but I do need to talk about this real quick. Smash players, there's character GameCube controllers, GameCube-style controllers coming to Smash. You will not need an adapter for it. Just to let you know, do not expect these controllers to be used in tournament play. Also, there will be no more balances for Smash Brothers coming. They are worried about fixing online more than character balances. Just letting you know, the articles will be in the info bar. Now let's get back to Capcom. Because I want to talk about the abuse of their fan base and deciding, hey, it's okay. They have the worst fucking PR I've ever seen in my life, as far as I'm concerned. However, let's get into this. Devil May Cry. You knew it was coming. Devil May Cry 4 is going to be remastered, and they're going to give you Virgil, apparently. And everyone's like, this is the greatest game ever. And I will put it like this, alright? If you have Devil May Cry 4 already, you don't need a remaster. You don't. Alright? I'll put it like this. This is for the Xbox One, I believe, and the PS4. Now I want to say this right now, okay? The Xbox One, the PS4, as we've seen as of late, a lot of their titles are remasters. You need something new next gen. Capcom, when's the last time you have given a AAA title, an original IP, for a next gen system? You haven't done it yet. You didn't even do much of that, was it, in the PS3, Xbox 360 era. So now, all the people that they disrespected, I want to say this, during their Devil May Cry fan base, because I've covered this, and there's a playlist for this too, when it comes to Devil May Cry for all you new subscribers, okay? I went through hell with them when it came to that, and their fan base, the defenders, because, I want to say this now, the new DmC that came out not too long ago, the fake Dante, the old bullshit that Tamim tried to pull, guess what? DmC Definitive Edition has been announced for the PS4, Xbox One, Next Gen, and guess what? They're going to add the features that we complained about in the original one. Remember, they weren't going to do that. Remember, I want to make sure that people quite remember this, okay? When we said it's missing a number of features, a number of gameplay in Devil May Cry to make it Devil May Cry, what did they do? They called us the vocal minority. They said we were a bunch of crybabies. They said all we did was bitch and moan. Matter of fact, when the game was released, Capcom released, and you remember when I showed you, in those videos, Capcom said to the fans, we forgive you. They expected you to say sorry to them after they released the game. That's how arrogant Capcom has become. We forgive you. How do sales go? So this is my thing. What makes you think, Capcom, if the game didn't sell well beforehand, what the hell makes you think it's going to sell now? You think that if you put in all those features that gamers of the fan base complained about, that they're going to come running to it now? No, you've burned that bridge. Don't you understand? Look, people, for those who do not remember, the reason I started those Devil May Cry videos is because Capcom Unity didn't listen to the fan base. So the fan base came to me to take care of it. That's what it was. Remember, I wasn't going to do the videos. I was just like, whatever. It was bullshit, but whatever. And everyone that had a complaint, they weren't being listened to, they were being ignored, they were being banned, and what happened? They came to me. And here's the beauty of it. The link that I'm going to put in the info bar for DmC, the Definitive Edition, is from Gregman. Now, for those who remember, Gregman reached out to me when I did that video, all the glitches and all the problems that they said, remember, Ninja Theory said, we're not fixing. We're not. This is what you're going to get. They didn't want to fix it. And then I showed all those glitches, and all of a sudden, it was a problem. I don't understand how you think that this is going to sell. Hell, you had it on PSN Plus for free, and no one played this shit. You think someone's going to pay for this? You will put this head-to-head with regular, was it Devil May Cry 4? And guess what's going to happen? Devil May Cry 4 is going to sell this DMC. It's going to sell out DMC tenfold. That's what's going to happen. It's going to sell more than DMC. That's it. Now, for those who say, why are they doing this? I'll explain. Capcom is setting up for Devil May Cry 5 or Devil May Cry Part 2, DMC Part 2. It depends on the sales of each game. If you can't see this coming, there's something wrong with you. It's this simple. They put them side by side, they see what sells better. If one goes up higher than the other, guess what? That's the one that's going to get the sequel. That's it. But once again, Capcom is still trying to abuse you on all this. Like I said, we saw everything that happened throughout this Devil May Cry thing, did we not? The media went after you. And it's the beauty of all this, and I have to say this, the beauty of all this is when Tamim wrote this script, and we know it was just They Live. I did all that, did I not? All right. But the media, remember, the same media that is screaming right now, misogyny, sexism, they're the ones who praised DMC, Dante being a whoremonger and all this. They praised it. They praised it. And then they did exactly what the game was. Oh, the media's going to lie to you. They're going to disrespect you, make you look like the bad guy. They went and did the exact same fucking thing. So that's the beauty of DMC. My hat's off to you, Tamim. Even though it was a piece of shit. Still, you did something right there. You did. Alright? You revamped They Live, they bought onto it, and now they're stuck into it. They're stuck in that conundrum right now. It's a beautiful thing to see. I will say that. Alright? But DmC Definitive Edition, you've got to be kidding me if you're going to go out and buy that shit. Like I said, no one bought it the first time. What the fuck make you think they're going to buy it now? Because you added the features in that the gamers wanted? The same gamers you disrespected when they wanted it? Nah, not going to happen. I want to move on. I want to talk about this petition. That's right. For those who don't know, petition to remove Anita Sarkeesian from Mirror's Edge 2 development. Now, we talked about this before, about Miss Sarkeesian being part of Mirror's Edge, and I had said before, on video and on stream, if this is something that is very serious and she is caught, she's part of this development, I will do a series on Mirror's Edge 2, just like I did Devil May Cry. I have no problem with that, and I will dismantle the shit out of that game. However, it seems like people want to make a petition to get her removed. Understand, people, you don't need a petition to get her removed. Simply don't buy the game if she's involved. We already saw her say, well, I played Mirror's Edge, and the controls were too hard for me. And we saw this. I don't know why you would even put her in a position, and if this is true, in a position for her to be part of development staff. What makes her so special that you can put her in there? To be part of development staff. Why don't you actually get the gamers who actually played this game, mastered this game, the first one, and why don't you put them on staff? Why don't you get them to be advocates instead of Anita Sarkeesian? Matter of fact, you're still having problems over in Japan with this. Because we knew before, and I did a video on it before, about Faith, how they westernized Faith, when they did the first Mirror's Edge. And Japan was pissed. They made, they Americanized her face some more. They gave her bigger breasts. And for some reason, that pissed off Japan, But the people in America, the SJWs, had no problem with it back then. None. However, this second time around, they're still trying to design Faith, and we're already seeing problems with Japan saying we still don't like her. Still don't. So it's going to be a struggle for them. Just letting you know that now. I want to move on. I want to talk about more bans and more petitions, things of that nature. WWE 2K15 is banning players for creating Chris Benoit. Really? So creating a character now gets you banned. And now, because of the outpour of this fan, the fan base creating Chris Benoit, there's been an update. Now they're saying they're just going to delete the character. They're not going to ban any more players for it. I find this highly hypocritical because in the past, when I used to play these wrestling games, I don't play them anymore. But when I did, online, you would see Zombie Chris Benoit, Zombie Eddie Guerrero. You saw Chris Benoit, blood all over him from, people still made these characters and they weren't banned then. What the hell makes you think it was okay to ban them now? It's stupid. And you know it's stupid. The fact that they just make Chris Benoit, just make him. He doesn't have to be graphic or anything. Just make him as a regular wrestler. You're going to ban people for that? That is ridiculous, 2K. Ridiculous. No way. No way. Assassin's Creed. Want to talk about this? Assassin's Creed Unity, we saw all the patches it was getting. Now it's getting another patch, a fourth patch. And guess what? That patch now is delayed. So now you're delaying patches. Like, let it burn. Let it burn. Like I said, there's too many problems with this game. Why would you support it? Assassin's Creed is done as far as I'm concerned. And Ubisoft has to learn something from this. But gamers, if you keep supporting it, they'll keep getting away with it. Like I said, abuse. I want to move on. I want to talk about Call of Duty. I said I'd talk about Call of Duty. Let's talk about Call of Duty. Call of Duty sales continue to decline. Okay, says an analyst. Alright, I'm fine with that. But here's the thing. Activision, you are taking your money. After everything that we have seen, gamers on YouTube and whoever keeps buying these games, they keep complaining about problems in the game. You aren't fixing it. However, you'll throw money at ESPN to plug your garbage-ass game. And before anybody says, well, that looks kind of Photoshopped, fine, we'll double up on it. I'll show you the video right now.
Crawford, what's ahead on the latest live hour of SportsCenter?
Guys, I'm here in the Call of Duty room playing video. Working on the next sports center. That's what I'm doing. Hey, Kobe Bryant ripping his team in practice, is that what they need? Or could that cause even more problems? We're going to talk to a guy who knows about these issues. PJ Carlesimo joins us. So we invite you to join me and Chris McHenry on the next Sports Center. It comes up as soon as this game is at the top of the hour.
And like you guys and girls said online, it looks like ESPN is trying to give Dorito Pope a run for his money. I find that really funny because this is what we're talking about when it's ethics in journalism. See, Activision, you are showing us once again that this is about sales, hype, promotion, instead of fixing your fucking product. That's what this is about. And yet for some reason, people are still going to buy us. But remember, everyone, ESPN already came out and said that esports isn't real. It's not a sport. But yet you're in the green room playing Call of Duty. Huh, ESPN? What does that have to do with your sports channel if esports isn't a sport? I'm just trying to figure this out. Other than the fucking money. Other than that. What has to do with anything? Nothing, right? Exactly. Like I said, this is about getting as many people to buy the fucking game, especially during the holiday season, as much as possible. That's what it is. But yet, there's no ethics. There's a problem. There's a problem with ethics in journalism, or the way these companies. I've said before how it's these companies' fault. They've opened up this box. There's no problem with that, right? Matter of fact, here's some more about ethics in journalism. I find that quite hilarious to the point where they're saying, if you, back away from Gamergate and say they don't have any good points, we'll give you free coverage for your game. Key point here, free coverage. Means people are being paid to cover this stuff by said companies. Free coverage! But it seems like there's nothing wrong with journalism, right? This is not what we're fighting for, right? You know what? Let's just move on. How about that? This is way too easy. Like I said, all this hypocrisy is being knocked down today. Let's move on. The Last Guardian is making progress under completely new conditions. The article, dare I say, tries to implicate that The Last Guardian will be moved to next gen instead of, the PS3. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully they put it on both. I don't have a problem with it being on the PS4 as long as they put it on the PS3 as well. I feel as though, those gamers that have been waiting for it for so long, they deserve it on that console as well. They do. Now, I want to talk about Destiny. Destiny. Destiny is not getting raid matchmaking anytime soon. Look, You need to fix this game as much as possible. You need to give people a reason to keep playing. I don't care about your expansions that you keep doing or Destiny 2 in the works. You know, that 10-year plan is really working out for you, isn't it? It's ridiculous that you would think that raid matchmaking shouldn't be in it. That's ridiculous. Have you never done an MMO before? Have you never, and don't tell me it's not an MMO, because it is. Like I said, they want all the bells and whistles from the MMO without the backlash of an MMO. They should be ashamed of themselves. Destiny, as far as I'm concerned, after reading a number of articles from like Yahoo and things of that nature, they're like, yo, we're done with it. We're done. It needs to survive somehow. You need to start looking at other MMOs and seeing the features that they have and adopt them to your game to survive. I am done. It's been a long day. But this is what happens when I take a week off, right? This is what happens when I go on vacation, apparently. Anyways, hopefully, like I said, all the links will be in the info bar. Understand, FGC, before I finish this video, anybody who says that, oh, you're just being negative. You realize in the previous, 2-3 weeks? Since Thanksgiving, I have applauded the FGC for their contributions to the Focus Attack food drive. And remember, last gaming video I did, I couldn't even find an article that posted results for it. So if you want to talk about positivity, you need to start looking also at your media, because they aren't following up on good stories that make you look good. However, all the bad stuff is still here. And if you keep putting your head in the sand and thinking that this is going to go away, you are crazy, because all that does is get bigger, it gets stronger, and it becomes more obvious what needs to happen.